Hello, loves. It's Sonia G. Surprise, we are live. I'm hanging out here in the sun. So you're hanging out literally on the couch with me today, and we are having a surprise live. We're going to talk about karmic cycles, timelines, astrology, and what the hell it all means and how it ties in to New Earth and to the timelines and like what's going on. Okay. So it's a really big subject. I got asked this question, and it's a bigger subject, and I feel strongly that it's important for everybody to understand. So thank you. Hi from the UK. Hi, loves. Hi. I'm like going straight. I'm not even saying hi, but hi, everyone. I love you guys so hard. Literally. Happy Sunday. Happy Sun Sunday. Yes. Hi, April. Seriously, I can't stop being in the sun. So like we're going to chase it around as it moves through the house as we're doing this live. Okay. Hi, lovelies. Good to catch you live. Yes. Oh my gosh. Look at all of you in the UK. Amazing. Italy is in the house. Hi, Sarah. Amazing. Oh, I feel so internationally loved. So today, let's say this. Hi from just down the hill in Woods Cross. I love it. Everywhere. So super close to me. So I can almost touch you. So one of the things I did today is it was a day of work, and I'll talk to you guys about what's going on in the grid too. I didn't put it in the title, but we're going to talk about what's going on with the new Earth grid, okay? Because there's things happening. And one of the things I did today is I went and worked with the Syrian Council, and did some work in the astral planes. And literally I felt like there was some clearing that needed to be done. And I literally felt through our entire tribe. And I was like, this is so fucking cool. Like, it was really awesome. So catch the vibes that I sent out to everybody. It was good stuff. Okay. So let's talk about this question that I was asked. And it was about one of our moon babes said, hey, I have this birthmark, and I've been told that like I can't make money and that I shouldn't go for money in this lifetime. And then I've had a couple of astrology readings that say, this is just not in your stars, right? Like she has a thing that she's wanted to be a millionaire by the time she was 40. And she was like, do I give that up? This is the question. Do I give this up? Do I, is this just not meant for me? Why is it that, is it part of destiny? So I want to talk to you about that stuff, because here's the thing, okay? So this is really important. And I'm going to give you a general understanding of this. When we're born, we go through the portal of the sun. We pick up different codes. We pick up information that codes our soul, so that when we are born on earth, we have a personality, we have like an understanding of things, we have like different challenges, okay? And the stars have the job, the way that we encode with the stars, that has the job, like, your rising sun, your ascendant, your moon sign, your, sun sign, like all of that. Where your Venus is going to tell you, like, how love stuff is going to go. So all of those things create growth for our soul. So our soul decided to sign up for that, right? Which is why the birth code is important, so that we would learn certain lessons for our growth. Now, understand that astrology is the wheel, okay? It's the wheel of karma. It's in the astrology. So we go through a cycle. I'm going to explain this stuff in much more detail. It started coming up at the solstice during the retreat that we had, but we're actually going to do an astrology course in March. So if you're into this stuff, like look for that later. Hopefully it will be in March, unless I get directed otherwise, but that's a general timeline plan. One of the things that's happening, okay, so we're going through the houses. So you guys understand that there's houses, okay? In your astrology chart, there's houses. When you're born, okay, your ascendant, which is your rising sun, determines your houses. That means where you start, okay? So that you start the journey and you go through the houses. So look at the houses, look at what rules the houses, and you understand what's going on. What was happening at the time that astrology was born? Traditional. astrology, which I got questions about this too that I didn't actually get a chance to answer yet, but I saw them, like, what's my take on like Western astrology versus Vedic astrology? The truth is the most accurate astrology is Babylonian astrology, okay? But it's really complex and it's a little tricky, but you can Google it and look it up because they take into consideration all of the different stars in the position like Vedic astrology does, but with different nuances. So anyways, long story short, any kind of astrology will tell you about the story that you picked up when you entered the earth and what you're kind of looking at in terms of evolution, okay? So you are you're unwinding through this journey through the houses. Every astrology, okay, every single one of them will have houses. The houses are basically your path through your life. What's happening is at the time astrology was created, so we're back at this, like any kind of astrology, right? When the ancient people said, hey, look, this is how it kind of works, like we can start to see this, blah, blah, blah. Shit worked differently, okay? So the position of planet Earth in context to our galaxy, in context to the universe, in context to the other planets was different. So that was the information that was available. And for people, it took a whole entire Earth lifetime to go through the whole cycle of karma, which is the cycle of your first through the 12th house, okay? What's happening now is if you guys look at your chart and you think of it as your timeline through life, you will see that you're already at your 12th house. If you're not there, you're pretty fucking close and you have it figured out, okay? So what happens is we're completing our charts much quicker. People don't look at it that way, but that's just because that's not the way it's taught. Just like nobody teaches you to talk to your fucking angels in school, right? Like it's just not the way it's taught. But like after you have enough sessions and clients and look at it and play around with it and you have, you know, that connection, like the work that I do. If you hear funny noises, Henry is testing out some motors and things. So again, so it's just not a traditional way. A lot of things are just not traditional, right? So there we go. But the point is our soul has to unwind through all of these cycles. Chances are, if you actually look at it that way, if you look at your chart that way, you'll figure out that you're pretty much complete. Once you're complete, it means that you've learned the things that you came to learn. It doesn't mean that it takes you the entire fucking lifetime to complete your chart. It doesn't. That's the first part of your life, okay? And the more charts I've looked at, which I actually have done, I do astrology live when we do retreats, okay? And then I do some astrology readings as I get asked, but that's not like a primary thing that I do. But the point is, and I do it all the time for friends because I want to see where we're at, okay, in the cycle. But this is the reason why we're going to have an astrology course, because this is stuff that needs to come out. Because now I know for sure, right? Like the world has to know these things. So there's enough evidence is what I'm trying to say that it's really truly happening for everybody. It's not just some people, but it's the people that are shifting to new earth timelines. They're completing their charts. That's part of your first cycle on planet Earth. You know how you feel like that was a whole entire lifetime ago, but it was this lifetime, but it was a whole other lifetime, but it's here, right? Like, but it's on Earth. It's in this time. So that's when you complete the Akashic records. Okay. Your Akasha is all of the information that basically comes with your soul. As you integrate, that you have to deposit, that you can't bring onto the earth because you can't do that while you're born, like with all of the knowledge, it doesn't fit inside the human body. While you are here doing ascension and clearing out all the carbon stuff and you're bringing in the light stuff, then you clear out all the wounds, all the things, like all the stories, blah, blah, blah. You bring in light, you integrate the Akasha. As your Akashic records integrate, okay, there's no more like karmic time loop. There's no more unwinding the wheel of karma. So you switched to timelines of grace. This is what I'm calling them. Some people call them the Christed timelines. It's the same thing. Basically, you are over karma. Okay, you're done. And we've hit that moment as a collective where it's available for everyone. like as a group, it's available on planet Earth if you do your work and you shift. And then you have to hold yourself there, okay? Hold yourself in the frequency of the higher timelines, which is the reason why if you guys go back through some of my posts, I've explained this in the posts. And it explains that the point now is to not create more karma. So stop creating karma for yourself, right? So clear it out, integrate the records, merge the chakra pillars. This is the work side note that we do in the Sacred Chakras journey, okay? Like you want to merge all of your pillars, and then you want to understand like the higher self journey. At that point, you're merging Akashic records. Everything is going, it's like this, done, 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 right? And then you complete that, and then you get on higher timelines. This is the work that we do in the Metaphysical Mastermind. So this is all of the magical stuff. It doesn't mean you have to do it with me. I'm just telling you, like, that's where the guidance is. But once you complete it, then you shift, okay? However you do it, you shift, and you're not attached to the wheel of karma. So now when planets move, right? And when things happen like that affect you, yes, you were born. So you have this inheritance, okay? Where you were born. For example, I was born with Venus in Virgo. Let's just say that. So everything that has to do with my love life, like when Venus moves, it directly affects, and my sun sign is also Virgo, right? It directly affects me like very much. I feel it very much in a love way. I feel it very much in a personal way, like in many levels. So whenever Venus moves, because I inherited this connection with Venus on my chart, that's very like significant and it's very close to my sun, then I feel it, and I know I feel it, right? And it affects me. But you don't have to it's an understanding. It's a higher understanding. So you look at it from like, hey, Venus is moving. Venus is doing this. I'm working with Venus. You're not in a loop anymore. Okay. So get yourself out of the motherfucking loop. And that's the thing that's happening. Like, and I was actually, who was it that said, I don't know, but a lot of people are realizing this shit, that like, it's time to clean out, which I've been saying for a really long time. It's time to clean out. Like a lot of people are stuck in the Chiron, in the wounds, in the past lives clearings, right? Like it's time to be done. It's time to be done. It's time to complete that. It's time to close it out. It's time to shift into the life of now, into the things of now. Oh, you know who recently said it also is Sandra Walters. Okay, so Sandra Walters, who's an ascension guide. Sandra is a gatekeeper. She keeps the gate at Sedona. Okay. So she keeps that gate where things come in and out. Right. So, recently she was talking about how, thank God people are done, like identifying with their past lives. Okay. Because, and she's very broadband. She's very more commercial. So the way that she says things are very like elegant and very nice, I think, even though she's like kind of like tired of a lot of people's bullshit. Cause I feel like she deals with a lot of just general, baseline kind of, sorry, hang on. Oh, kind of, yeah, just the general public, which is not this tribe, okay? Which is not this. But she's obviously like, it's very matching because the work that she does the gatekeeping, and she also does some grid work. I am a grid keeper. Like I'm in charge of like the grid and I do portals. And so it all kind of ties in together, okay? So it's kind of interesting how we all flow together. So anyways, point being, and I think I heard somebody else say it too, but I can't remember. Like some of the people that are actually like doing real things, not some of the bullshit people that are like doing the trendy, I'm channeling the star beings, okay? Like don't fall for that shit because you already know this. But the point being is we're completing the karmic timelines. Those are karmic timelines. Anytime you are stuck in an emotion that's like still linked to an event that happened to your past, whether it's this childhood of this lifetime, or the past lifetimes, okay, you are still in the loops of karma. You are still allowing an emotional charge to link you back to events that happened in past timelines and defining you. So you're keeping those timelines open and anchored, right? So it's kind of like you're still there and you're allowing that stuff to define you when literally you're reborn every morning, every day, right? So we actually have to, it was Abraham Hicks that has like a rampage where she says like, how fast do our cells actually turn over, right? It's like you wake up in the morning and you're like, I don't even recognize you anymore, right? Like we could literally change that fast if we allowed our mind to work with ourselves and our ability to renew. It's like that, like instant. If we allowed ourselves to discharge, the emotional charges of the past and actually shift in the present. Okay, so this is the thing. So we're understanding this. Okay, so these are cycles. So what does that mean? That means that overall, okay, so let's go back to our Moon Babes question about what does it mean, that people are seeing in my chart, this stuff in my chart. So to that, I would say, without seeing a chart or without seeing anything else, right? There are challenges. Birthmarks historically represent challenges that are transferred, transmitted, whatever, inherited from parents to child, right? And so back in the days they would just say, oh, this is what this means, or this is what this means, depending on your birthmark. So the whatever it is, the point is there are lessons to be learned. Okay. So when you see stuff on your chart, if you're stuck there and if you see it, okay, then you have to learn. So why do you want to have $1 million? Why do you want to be a millionaire by 40? What are you going to do with that money? Because here's the thing. If you're in alignment, right? If you're in alignment and you're following your alignment and that is good for you and that is in your alignment because you will know how to hold it, how to do good things with it, and the money wants to come to you, then it has to come to you. Like it will come to you because it's in your alignment. However, it's not going to be in your alignment if you don't have a good purpose behind it. If you want to do it for, like if you're a light worker and you want money for any kind of purpose that is not of the highest, it won't come to you. So you have to clear all that stuff up. Like if you still have like subconscious judgments about the fact that, oh, I need money, otherwise this, or I need the money to prove this, or I want to be able to do all these things that I saw these people in my childhood do because this. Like if you're after money to prove a point or to do something that's unrelated to ascension timelines, the money won't come to you. In general, okay? Because we're switching grids. So if you're working on new earth timelines, you have to call in money in new earth ways. You have to call in abundance in new earth ways, okay? So moral of the story, number one, don't let your karmic wheel and your other things like keep you in loops. This is the stuff that keeps us in loops, okay? Like it keeps you in a loop where it's like, oh, well, this is in this house and this is in this house. Therefore, I have to carry this wound. I have to carry this baggage. That's where my Chiron is. That's where my, Uranus is or whatever. And you fucking carry this wound, right? It's the same thing. Like any of you that have studied with my mentor, Gary, love his work. Absolutely. Like you guys know I'm a huge fan. There is another step beyond, the work that he does where like a lot of people miss that step. He helps people identify what he calls a black hole, which is basically like your core belief systems that continue to rewrite the story. Like you continue to manifest things in like the negative, right? So for example, in my work with Gary, my black hole, meaning like the thing that keeps on manifesting like through stuff, was that I wasn't good enough and I wasn't worthy and I wasn't perfect, right? So a lot of people, what happened to me, once I figured that out, that was my, my thing, like at the bottom of it all, which you can figure it out in multiple ways, then I reorganized it. And because I watched all these people saying, oh yeah, that's my wound. Like that's my black hole. Therefore, I see my reality through this black hole and through this wound. So what did I say? Fuck that shit. We're going to reorganize it. Like that's done. That black hole is closing up. We are like lighting it up. Like we are harmonizing the shit out of it. Right? So once you identify it, you don't get stuck in it. Like we are creators. We can reorganize reality. So you reorganize it, you rearrange it, right? And you work with your creation powers to then be like, Yeah, actually, it's the opposite. And he actually teaches that. So he teaches, like Gary, and when the black hole teachings of Gary, if that's what we want to call it, he will teach you that the truth is actually the opposite of what your black hole is, meaning like what the thing that keeps on sucking all of your power is. But they never, like a lot of people never have the, like, they keep using it as an excuse. And in the new age community, that would be your Chiron, right? So it's the same thing. Oh, but my black hole, right? Oh, but my Chiron. Oh, but in my past life I drowned. Like I can't do that, right? Or like what do you guys see what I'm saying? Like it's just, it becomes an excuse, and it becomes an emotional charge that keeps you in timelines that want to drop because they're not needed in new earth. So once you learn that, you create your own story and you pull in your higher self and several versions of your higher self that you will integrate through the ascension journey, okay? Through the light body journey. You won't, like, they're not tied. You're not tied to karmic timelines of earth anymore. So you can let all of that go. So you get to write your own story. You get to choose. But in order to do that, you have to learn the lesson. So you have to like go through forgiveness. You have to go through like owning your judgments. You have to rewrite your belief systems, right? Otherwise, it won't come to you because it's in the old story. So it's in the karmic timelines, right? So it's kind of, so let me say it in a different way, because it always works to understand it this way. In relationship talk, okay? If you don't heal your black hole or your Chiron wound or, your mother wound of being abandoned, let's say, you will always manifest a relationship of somebody that abandons you. So it's like, it's like going to a psychic or going to somebody that reads your chart and they're like, well, just so you know, it's in your chart. You will always be alone because you will always be abandoned because this is like a big deal, right? In your chart. Do you understand that? Like those are things that instead you're like, fuck that. Like I'm going to heal that. And it's not necessarily fuck that. That's just how I say it. But you can just be like, actually, I'm better than that, right? Actually, I came to heal that. Actually, it's part of my journey to heal that. Okay. And so figure that out. And then rewrite the story because we don't have to stay in the construct. Like we're very clear that this is a construct of reality that we came to break. So as we're breaking through new realities and new layers of realities, the old realities don't apply. All right, good. We got this. So the point is find your alignment, okay? And find it on the new earth grid, which brings me to talking about the grid. So there's a lot of shit going on the grids, okay? There's a lot. What is the grid? The grid is like our internet, our light internet exchange for everybody that's creating the new earth, okay? For all of the light workers that are actually doing the work. There are several grids, okay? Because some people are very confused and they think they're doing light work and they're not. And they're just like, they're taking massive amounts of drugs and they're bringing onto the grid all sorts of attachments and all sorts of bullshit. So don't be those people, okay? Like if you're going to do drugs, do them. Don't connect to the fucking grid. Like have your own soul experience, whatever you're going to do. But don't bring attachments into the grid. This is a concept that's actually explained in a different way, in different words, but very well. In Bringers of the Dawn, okay, in one of Barbara Marciniak's books that we've been talking about for a while. And she actually talks about this in regards to sex, in regards to when you actually like take care of yourself, right? When you learn to pleasure yourself, to be careful to not bring in varieties of other thought forms through your thoughts while you're actually like, being in charge of your sexual energy. And I was like, that's a good way of explaining it, right? Because your thoughts are forms and they will bring in things and people and beings and entities. So when you're doing that, right, your energy is not running clear. And a lot of times that's what happens, which is why porn is such a big, so side note, this is why porn is such a big addiction and addictive industry. And it's like, you're sending energy to like this whole other thing when you're in that because you're not in your own energy pillar. Okay. So like, that's a whole other energy leak situation. where you're not like running your own light. So she talks about that, and I was like, kudos to you, sister, for like explaining this thing. So anyways, same thing when it comes to working on the grid and doing like light work. If you take drugs, you open up. Okay, it's the same thing. Like if you're doing porn, you're opening up. It's not just you. You're open up, which means other thought forms, other energies, other entities can come into you and suck the life force energy out of you. And if you're connected to the grid, they will bleed onto the grid. They can access through you. They can access the grid. Okay, so don't do that, okay? Like, don't do that. That's like not good energetic hygiene practices, okay? And I understand that a lot of times, like, thoughts are not, like, it is not the easiest to control our thoughts and to be in charge of our thoughts, but this is the fucking challenge. Control your thoughts and control your reality, right? Like, learn how to shift and reorganize and rearrange and, like, all of that. So, big deals. Okay, so while this is happening and on the grid, we have these mixed things. Sometimes I also see posts of people that are like, you know, I'm still a little bit of evil, but I'm like a light worker. And I'm like, what the, like that does not go together. It doesn't. Like you possibly can't have that and this, like, and then be on the grid and actually like be in new earth timelines, because that doesn't exist in new earth timelines. So you're very confused. Okay. So if that's the case, like it's just not, it's clearly a light grid made of light. It's not a dark grid made of evil stuff. Like that's a whole other bandwidth. Okay. So the frequency bandwidth of new earth is these light grids. As people raise their vibration, but then do stupid things, and they bring in through their bodies different attachments, and those attachments can link on to the grid. I know it gets very sci-fi, but that's how it really works, like if you want an explanation of it. So they bring through attachments through the grid, then they infiltrate the grid, which means that those of us that are grid keepers and that are in charge of doing the grid work, we have to either clear that out, right? Or we have to create a new grid and we have to make it available. And right now, more than ever, we are constantly creating new grids because we're bringing down other layers of reality, especially with the codes that are coming in. There's light codes, there's star codes, there's all sorts of codes that are coming in right now, meaning information, okay? Codes are information. It's just a word that says, you know, that trips people out sometimes. It's like light codes. It's really just information. It's the information that I speak to you, right? I just translate it. Some people are translators of this information. So there we go. So we bring it in, and then, you know, once that's available and once enough of us can download a frequency, then we blast it out and a new grid is formed, okay? So Nathan was saying earlier that he felt the grid. So yeah, I mean the blast, right, that happened as I went up. And that's kind of what happens as you feel, like those of you that feel it, right, and you feel and you wave, you're like, oh, this is now available. And so then you know you can shift. Some of us came, literally, that's like my job, right? That's like part of my job as a grid keeper is I bring in new frequencies and I make them available for the planet, okay? And so then everyone is like, oh, this is now available. Like we can do this, we can do this. And so we grow together that way as we're on clear grids. And you guys know I am so damn picky about my energy and the energy that is in my pillar and the energy that I hold. And so therefore, like when I am, you know, holding in the grid, it's not like the moment that it gets infiltrated, like, you know, I'm on it and I feel it. One of the other questions that I got asked is, there were wolves on the grid. What the fuck is, or in the astral planes, what the fuck is going on? So what's happening is it's basically holographic inserts, okay? So there are, everything about our reality is like holographic, okay? So it's the field that we connect with energetically is morphogenic, which means that we're constantly moving through it, and it's a conscious, it's alive. We get to like feel through it, we breathe through it, we connect through it, okay? It's very like all inclusive. So what happens is sometimes there's inserts because there are beings that are larger than, you know, our planet. Think about how big Gaia is, Mother Earth, right? Think about her spirit. Think about how ginormous her spirit and her soul is in order to be a planet and to be alive inside of our planet. Our spirit lives inside of this tiny physical body, okay? And Gaia lives inside of the whole planet, of the Earth. So it's the same for all the planets. There are beings that are bigger than that. There are beings that are like as big as galaxies, right? There are beings that are like huge. So, and I'm not saying that we're this small. I'm just saying right now, a part of our consciousness is inhabiting this little baby, small physical body. Okay. So, okay, my legs are going numb. Oh, okay. So what am I saying with that? There's other beings. So as there's good, there's bad. Okay. It's just the nature of our reality, the nature of our universe. So there are beings that are the bad guys that are wanting to siphon energy out of the grids, energy out of the astral planes, energy out of everybody that is connecting, basically. So that's what's happening. And so they literally will send shit that like is weird, okay, through the grid so that you're scared and so that you're like, oh, I'm not like, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm not going to do this work. Or like sometimes it feels weird. There are attacks. A lot of people talk about attacks, right? Like energetic attacks or like psychic attacks or whatever not. And these are just like, that's why it's very important to understand who you are, what your energy is, and then what your energy is not, and how to connect to the highest frequency available to you and clear out the rest. Okay. So whenever you see something that doesn't feel right, okay, because sometimes you can see things like, for example, if you see a dragon for the first time in the astral planes and you're like, holy fuck, right? Like for some people, it can be like a weird experience. You're like, I don't know if I want to go up on a dragon. But, you know, for some people it's more natural. For some people it's not. So you have to learn to discern whether or not that's a positive being or a negative being. Okay. So there we go. Okay. In dreams, if we encountered an animal, are we supposed to let them bite us? There's no supposed to or not. So like it's interesting you asked me this. The very first time I ever encountered a dragon, which was literally like 2007, 8 era. The very first dragon I ever encountered on the astral plane was three blue dragons, and they literally came and they did. And it was like a little trippy because they came and they bit, but in the context of the work that I was doing, I knew that it was positive, right? And I felt it because I was with my Reiki master, and it was doing an attunement, and it was just like very intense, like spiritual, higher vibrational, like clearing of all the things work, right? So I'm just saying, like, set the tone for what you're doing. So anyways, and they came and they actually they bit me at the throat and they sucked venom out. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because at first you don't know, right? And then you're like, do I need to clear? No. Like you have to move through this stuff really fast, right? And like understand how, like, okay, this is how it's going to work. This is what's happening. You know, what are you doing? Are you of the highest truth and light? Are you not, right? Like you have to move fast. So in this case, it was a good thing, right? But I don't know what's happening in your dream. I don't know what's happening. Does that make sense? Like, so learning how to navigate is always the key, which is the reason why that's one of the things that I say in the Metaphysical Mastermind is like my whole intention with that course is giving you the skills to always know what to do. Because until we have like cookie cutter like answers, right? Like, yes, do this, or no, do that. Like, this is always good. This is always bad. It's not applicable, right? Because then you get like a new circumstance and you're like, wait, was I supposed to let the rabbit bite me, but not the eagle, you know, or whatever? Like it doesn't work. So once you learn how to actually read energy and understand how to move through the different phases and the different things and like, you know, learn how to manage yourself, then you actually know what to do anytime, all the time, whether in the astral plane or in the physical reality. So, very cool. Yep. Okay. Makes sense. Tatiana, as a timeline jumper, what are we supposed to focus on right now? bringing in, so thank you. So when you're doing like different timelines, when you're jumping through timelines, bring in the higher frequencies that are wanting to anchor in. So make sure that you're staying through and bringing in. So there's a crisscross. Okay. So all of you time jumpers, if you're aware that you're a time jumper, sometimes I do this because I have access to these things, they're just not my call, which is the reason why I can teach you guys this stuff, right? So, and timeline jumping is like really fun. So, what you want to do is literally work with the not historical, but kind of. There are timelines that are of the ancient past, okay? Like timelines of Atlantis that are crossing because they're literally on the wheel of karma, they're opposite where we are right now. You can go and access those and bring in the information that has to unravel in these timelines. So there's always timeline information that you can weave. It's kind of like weaving information through timelines, okay? Like of the things that actually like are applicable to our layers of reality. So be guided through that. Allow yourself to be guided through that. Marina's laughing at the rabbit and not the eagle. You know what I'm saying? You guys, I hope that was not a reference. Be clear. There was not code for anything. That was just like an example that came to my mind. Okay. Love you. Love you. Wonderful art behind me. Oh yeah, no, you can see it. And my little baby heater. So amazing. Okay, cool. So I'm glad that we talked about this. You guys, do you have any tips on how to see things on the grid? I can only feel, and I haven't felt any negative things. So feeling is seeing, okay? So it's the same. So feeling is seeing through sonar. So just kind of, understand that your feelings will bring you the images and then you'll be able to see. So you're on path, sister. What should portal keepers be focused on now? So if you're a portal keeper, okay, make sure that you're doing, there's a lot of portals that are asking to be opened right now. There's a lot of frequencies that want to come in. They happen, go look at the astrology. Andrea, I believe that you're in Moon Babe Society. Go look at the astrology calendar, okay? All those of you, look at the passes that Mercury is doing this month. And even if you're not in Moon Babe Society, go look at what Mercury is doing in astrology, okay? But we just have it really spelled out and very easy in Moon Babe Society. So go look at all the passes, meaning Mercury touches base with a lot of different planets in the retrograde journey this month. Those will all be portal openings, okay, for portal keepers. Those will all be frequencies that want to come in, that want to be communicated with planet Earth to unwind the journey. So you want to be in sync with that journey, and you want to bring in very high clarity, higher consciousness things on the planet. So there's frequencies that are, and also through the sun. Some of you will be called to work with the sun. Some of you will be called to work with the planets, depending on what your calling is. And then you have to bring in the frequencies through you, opening them on the grid. By the way, all of this stuff specifically about these jobs will be, I have a module that's being added. We're going to add it to the mastermind live this year. So all of you that are already in the mastermind, you will get that too. Okay. And those of you that are registering for the mastermind in the fall, we're going to go through that. So awesome. Okay, cool. What do you know about manifesting things in your dreams and it becoming a reality? Absolutely. So dreams are just the astral planes. In your dreams, you just access the astral planes. The astral planes is where you create and then you bring it to life here. So that's always the astral plane is where your thoughts are. Okay. So if you can think it, then you have to feel it and then you manifest it. That's stuff they, teach in the money rehab. So when you're talking about money and when you're talking about manifesting anything, because the work is the same, the concepts are the same. Okay, cool. Yeah, you're a sun babe. That's awesome. Yes. So there are different codes, and let's finish by talking about this. I was texting Kelsey earlier today because I read the newsletter or whatever Sandra Walters sent out. Bless her heart. She has so much patience for so many people. The way that she explains things is very elegant. And even though she's very I've had it with a lot of people. And so I very much respect her for that. So one of the things that she said is she talks about freedom codes. And I texted Kelsey and I was like, oh, now I know why everybody's talking about freedom codes. Because like, you know, she has like, she kind of does like the far and wide. She has a far and wide reach. Well, here in this tribe, the work that we do is very much like, you know, how I say we're like the special ops. This is not necessarily for everybody. This is not the widespread knowledge. You know, we're at the edge of everything that is available. This is the energy that I hold. So anyways, so there's more than freedom codes. Freedom codes are becoming available for the collective. But what's really happening and what started happening are creation codes. So obviously creation codes follow freedom codes because first you have to free yourself, then you can actually create, right? So there's a lot of information that's coming. So whenever people say, oh, this is coming in, like look and see what's coming in for you. Because at this point, our gifts are so varied and the information, like there's star codes, there's sun codes, there's planetary codes, right? There is so much information. There's like inner earth is starting to speak and send knowledge up, right? So for a lot of people, it's like elemental codes. Like there's information and knowledge in so many things in nature and in the entire, you know, planetary system. So don't limit yourself at looking at the codes that, you know, someone is saying, like identifying, like do the work for yourself, which is why I always say this. Like if they're like the most important thing that you can learn is how to do this work and how to interpret it and understand it like for yourself so that then you can actually be like, I know, right? It's not I read and so said and I heard and then people are kind of talking about this. It's like, I know, right? Like, that's power when you can do that, right? Like for me, sometimes a lot of people are like, oh my God, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that, and da 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 da. And I'm like, right? You just out. And then you go in and you look. And then you go in and you look and then you know. And then you're like, this is what's going on, people. So for, you know, try and do that. Like start to really get that grasp for yourself because then you know. And your reality is coding by you, not by what somebody else says. Okay? So cool. Amazing. Thank you so much for all you do and the energy you take for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. Your page has helped me so much. Oh, I'm so happy to hear. Yay. How do you talk to your soul Homestar home group? That's a really long answer, but the way that you do it is literally that's the stuff that I teach you in the Sacred Chakras journey, okay? But the short answer is you have to get yourself to a place where you're clear and you're connected with heaven and earth, and then you go and connect, and the frequency will come in at your third eye to begin with, and then you can ride that frequency and connect to your soul star. But your soul star is also a frequency that is held in the very first chakra outside of your body. So you'll connect from here, and then there's the crown, which it just opens, and then you'll connect from here, okay? So those are all the things I teach you in that course. Okay. Amazing, amazing, amazing. You guys are doing awesome. I know that sometimes I get yelling at everybody because I get frustrated about just the general consciousness and like people not understanding. But the reason why I get hard sometimes is because I love you. It's like, you know, the moon mama. Like I actually, you know, I want to make sure that we're not, there's sometimes the human part of us wants to just get comfortable. Like I've done enough work. I feel like I'm good. Like, you know, but it's just, this is actually a, like we're constantly rising up. So don't let go. Okay. Like it's just, you know, so sometimes it's like that, those like hardcore reminders just to be like, keep going because it keeps getting better if you keep getting better. But if you don't keep getting better, it doesn't keep getting better. It keeps getting more challenging, right? So if you're encountering the challenges, remember to go higher, to keep getting better because it is available. We're just, you know, make doing the work part of your constant daily life, part of your routine. There's nothing else that's more important. Light body is first, right? So okay, amazing. I love you guys. What are angel numbers? Angel numbers are numbers that communicate between the angels and you to give you like information and knowledge. Angel numbers are like one of the first things that you start to see when you start to like awaken and when you're like when the universe talks to you, and and then they stay forever, but it's one of the first identifiers that the universe is talking to you and that your team is talking to you. And of course it's 222 here. There we go. Beautiful way to end. I love you guys. Remember that the Sacred Chakras Journey plus the Metaphysical Masterminds are on an impromptu flash sale that's lasting through to tonight, okay? So if you're feeling called, like all of the things that literally we talked about are things I teach in depth in those 2 courses. And they're just amazing. They're like X-Men school, level 1 and level 2. So, and the level 2, which is the Metaphysical Mastermind, we're going live with that on the 25th of March, and there will be a massive bonus for the equinox, which is the 20th, okay, which will be included live for everybody in the mastermind, okay? Amazing, 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 amazing. So, okay, many questions about angel numbers, all of that. So go to, if you have questions about angel numbers, again, I actually have my own interpretation of angel numbers in the Sacred Chakras Journey that you can download. Okay, so that's like a thing. But Google angel numbers and Joanne's Sacred Scribes. That's where you go. And like you just talk to your angels. Like you understand what they mean and you start talking back and forth. Once you understand the baseline of each number, kind of like what you understand what each planet represents, then you start talking to everyone. Okay, it's like all of that. So, okay. Amazing. Okay. Yes. Watch the replay. I love you all. So much love. I will see you tomorrow on the Moon Babes Monday Night Live. This was a surprise live. So you guys have just had really great questions. And I feel like this is such a pivotal time, like to shift, right? And like really shift frequencies because so much is going on. And like, I'm going to do something else free for Valentine's, like for this month, just because I want to do free shit because like I want to help. And so we're going to, that one is going to be about like confidence, okay? About self-confidence and like learning how to like not doubt yourself through like these things. And then we're going to have another thing coming up specifically about ascension. We're going to have like a new intensive course because so many things are needed. And I know that there's a lot going on. So, some things will be free. Some things will be part of the digital courses. Some things will be experiences. We have a lot of new stuff that's coming up. But I love you and I'm proud of all the work that you guys are doing. And I feel you and I want you to know that I do work for this whole tribe when I go and do work. So I love you all. Go shine bright like the stars that you are. And I'll see you all in the astral planes tomorrow night on the Moon Babes Monday Night Live and in all the courses and like all the social medias. Sonia G, surprise Sunday Live. All the things you can find at www.moonbabetribe.com or here on Instagram at Moonbabes and the Light Tribe.